in 2.8a, our last section, we were talking about percent problems, but they were kind of gibberish. They were questions like, what is 20% of 5? Right? Who's ever going to walk up to you and ask you that question? Right? That's not real life. So now we're going to talk about what we do with real life percent problems. So we still have to use this idea of what is and of. So remember, every time you see the word what, we do X. Is the equal sign, of is times. But now to solve actual real life percent problems, we need to have more of a complex formula or equation. And this is going to be so important. This is the most important part of today, is this little formula. So you have to remember that the percent of the whole, so the whole amount, equals or is the part. This is going to help you solve real life percent problems. So if you think percent of the whole is the part, you'll be great today. All right, so I've got an actual kind of word problem here. I'm going to keep this equation in mind. So I'm going to be looking for a percent, I'm going to be looking for a whole amount, and I'm going to be looking for a part. One of those things is going to be missing. I'm just not sure what is what, okay? All right, so your upcoming science test is worth 75 points. How many points do you need to earn to get an 80%? They give me a percentage. I'm going to convert that to a unit rate or a decimal right away, and I'm not going to write 80, I'm going to write 0.80. Whole amount, let's see, this is the only other thing I'm given. Your upcoming science test is worth 75 points. That's how much the whole test is worth, which means I'm looking for the part. Now I'm going to plug in all of this information into my formula. So 0.80, the percent times the whole amount should equal the part. So I just need to multiply those two things together, and that gives me 60. Now since it's a word problem, I can really ask myself, does this make sense? 60 what? So that means I need to get 60 points on that 75-point test to get an 80%, and that makes sense. All right, let's try the next one. I'm going to change colors here. All right, I'm going to do the same thing. Percent, whole, part. That's what I'm looking for. One of those is going to be missing. I need to figure out what it is. There's approximately 1,800 students at Prairie Ridge. That's how much total students I have. Whole amount. On Friday Spirit Day, 990 students wore school colors. That's part of the whole. That part of the students. That means I'm looking for a percentage of students that wore that spirit wear. All right, let's plug it in to our formula. So X, the percent of the whole amount, equals the part. Now I have to do some division, right? I need to get X by itself. So I'm going to divide 1,800 on both sides. So I have 990 divided by 1,800, and I get 0.55. Now they were looking for a percent. What percent? So I need to convert that to a percent. I get 55%. Okay? Simple percent problems. Let's talk about more complex one. There's a totally different formula if I'm solving for interest. So this simple interest formula. Whenever we're talking about banking, buying a car, taking out a loan, we're going to be using this interest formula, okay? So stick with me. So instead of percent of the whole as the part, we're going to do interest equals principal times rate times time. So interest is going to be how much you earn or how much you pay. Principal is how much you invest. Okay, stick with me. R is going to be my rate, which is always your percentage. And then T is time. That's going to be in years. Okay, so calculate the interest. I'm missing the I. That's what I need to figure out. Okay, if I invest, so that's my principal, at a rate, there's my percentage, and times. So I equals P times R times T. So I equals, my principal is 5,000, times my percent, always as a decimal. I'm going to move that 2 times. So 0.016 times 10. I'm going to plug that all into my calculator real quickly, and I'm going to get 800. So that means the interest I'd earn if I saved up $5,000 for 10 years, the bank would just give me $800, which is super sweet. All right, let's try one more, okay? It's telling me to find the time. So I know that T is going to be missing. So my interest, my I, is 2,160. My P is 6,000. My rate as a decimal is 0.08. Make sure you're converting that. And the T is what's missing. Since I'm missing the part that's not by itself, I have to just simplify this side. So I'm going to do 6,000 times 0.08. So that gives me 480t equals 2,160. Now I need to get t by itself. I'm going to divide both sides by 480. So I'm going to do 2,160 divided by 480, and I get time, 4.5. So since it's time, that means I have to save it for 4.5 years. Okay, I'm going to have you guys try those last two. Call us over when you think you've got it.